Hello, Jai Shri Krishna. Welcome everyone to Drishtikon Talks Webinar 2. Thank you for joining in today morning. I am Dhaval Bhatia, part of team Drishtikon, and I would like to set the rules for this webinar. All the participants will be on mute. All the participants will be on mute and with their video off. If you have any questions or comments, please put it up in the chat box, and our moderator will take the questions with the participants and the person who is presenting. Request you to please keep yourself on mute as well as video off. Now I hand over to Mr. Rajen Jeshrani to take the talk forward.
ગુડ મોર્નિંગ, જય શ્રી કૃષ્ણ. આપ સૌનો દ્રષ્ટિકોણ ટીમ તરફથી હું રાજન જેસરાની સ્વાગત કરું છું. અને આ દ્રષ્ટિકોણ ટોક આપણું જે મેઇન ઓબ્જેક્ટિવ છે દેટ ઇઝ કે આપણી ભાટિયા કોમ્યુનિટીમાં જેટલા ટેલેન્ટેડ અને પ્રોફેશનલ એક્ટિવિટી કરે છે એને આપણે આ ફલક ઉપર લઈ આવીએ અને અહીંયાથી આપણા ભાટિયા કોમ્યુનિટી માટે એ લોકોને કોઈક નવો અપ્રોચ મળે અને નવો વ્યૂઝ મળે, એના માટે આપણે આ દ્રષ્ટિકોણ ગ્રુપનું નિર્માણ કર્યું છે. એમ કહેવાય છે ને કે જેમ જેટલું આપણે નોલેજ એવી ચીજ છે કે જેટલું વાપરો એટલું વધે. એટલા માટે આપણે આ દ્રષ્ટિકોણ ગ્રુપમાં જેટલા જણ આપણને નોલેજેબલ છે એ બધા લોકોને આપણે અહીંયા ઇન્વાઇટ કરીએ છીએ અને આમાં અમને તમારો બધાનો સહકારની ખૂબ જ જરૂર છે. So today, in fact, in the last webinar, we have got a very overwhelming response from all of you. And Sanjay Jesrani was the speaker, and he has given some idea about post-COVID, the reality. That was really a good approach. And today we have two speakers. One is Vidya Ved from Chennai, and another is from Mumbai, Prashant Kajaria. So first of all, I invite Vidya Ved today. Vidya Ved is based in Chennai. She is specialist in she has done a master's in economics, and she is working with Bank of New York Mellon, and she has done degree in forex reserves, and also she is part of ecom webinars. So please welcome Vidya Ved.
Jai Shri Krishna, everybody. I would like to thank the team Drishtikon for organizing such informative and innovative session. We all are connecting on a different aspect, and that's really good. Secondly, I would like to thank them for giving me an opportunity to be on this platform to speak. I would thank one and all of you for spending your 1 hour of Sunday time with us. We are really happy. My topic for today is post-COVID on Indian economic scenario. Now, why are we naming it post-COVID like it's a post-war scenario? It is because never in the history of economics has this happened that we have asked businesses to stop producing and consumers to stop consuming. What we are fighting is a war, and trust me on this, we all have fought the war and we are going to get back to normal in no time. What has COVID done to us? COVID has changed a lot of aspects, from our travel habits to our consuming habits to our country interdependence on each other. It has changed not just the way we define the normal life, it's given a new definition to normal. But what is our economy facing when it comes to COVID? India's GDP has gone lowest in its third quarter. From, I think, over the past 6 years, it's lowest to about 4.5. This is causing the change in the trade, the demand side, and the supply side. Now, what do I mean by the trade? The trade of a country is nothing but the exports and the imports. What is happening in the import side is that China accounts more than 40% of India's import. And due to the present situation, there is no chance that we could import anything from China or rather from any other economy, because of which firms are not able to make their investment, thereby putting a pressure on growth for the firms. Secondly, what is happening on the export side? On the export side, because all the economy are closed, because there is a lot of restriction on trade, we are not able to rise up our export. Now, when I say that the country's demand and shocks are also affected, what is a demand shock? What is a supply shock? A demand shock is nothing but generally if the price goes down, the demand goes up and vice versa. But in a demand shock, what happens is that because of a sudden change, the demand and supply is disruptive. That is called a demand shock. So what is happening on the demand side of our economy is that it's related to our private consumption. We aren't able to consume anything other than essentials for various reasons. One, because of the lack of availability of non-essentials, and two, because we are holding our money for the uncertainty that this pandemic is causing. Overall, the demand of an economy is hit bad. But on the supply side, there is a positive look. That is we because of us not relying now too much on the China economy, especially on the China economy, we can also look at factors within our country, within our region. It will take time, there is no doubt. It will take time. It might take third quarter of this year, or maybe fourth quarter of this year. But there is one thing for sure, is the supply side of our economy is going to improve. What is the government doing in order to curb all this? First, if you remember, India is just not fighting the problem of COVID, we are also fighting the problem of poverty. The government is trying to stabilize the liquidity. The liquidity scenario in India is is the main priority of the government, and second is protecting the vulnerables. There are many people who do not have a shelter right now. There are many people who are homeless, leave alone social distancing. But all of this has different impact on different sectors. The sectorial impact of COVID is different. I have taken 6 sectors into consideration, which I believe is impacted and which I believe will take time to rise. The first one is apparel and textile. Apparel and textile contribute to 2% of total India's GDP, employing more than 45 million people. What is happening in that sector is that there are multiple layoffs, there is production shutdown, because of which the whole sector is come to a pause, the whole sector has come to a standstill. There are no labels are migrating, and all of this is causing a fall in demand of this sector, because our priority right now is consuming the essential. Our priority right now, I have no idea when last did we order something online. We are so busy in dealing with the whole pandemic that textile is not one of our major priority. But what is done to make the situation better? As we all know that every company goes through a season of sale. There is end of season sale, there is discount provided. We should delay it as much as possible. Corona has given all of us a genuine excuse to practice ethical businesses. And secondly, what we can do is go as much as online as possible. A lot of companies in India have installed, are working on this virtual reality app, where we have to do nothing but just click a picture of ourselves, try on the blue shirt that you want to buy, see how it looks on you, and hit purchase. These kind of systems that are coming into the apparel and the textile industry is helping the sector come out of the problem of, you know, coming into the shop, social distancing, hygiene problem, etc. The last thing is, everything is going to improve in quarter 3 if the sectors are opening up. As we know, our Indian sentiments, there is Ganesh Chaturthi coming, there's Navratri coming, there's Diwali coming, there is definitely a purchase of an apparel. There's definitely where we are going to go out, step out, malls, boutique, wherever, and buy something new. Why? Because it's auspicious. So let's prepare our inventory for the big Indian festivals. Let's be prepared for the third quarter, where, you know, we can say, all right, online is not something we prefer, no problem, we'll try going, but what else can we do? Prepare our inventory for the next Indian festival. Prepare our inventory so that if people walk into your shop, they are they are safe. And instead of using the traditional model of stocking everything that you have in your shop, please try and concentrate on what the need is. Why is a consumer coming to purchase? What is the need of an hour? That's what is happening in the textile sector. When we go to the automotive sector, the automotive sector contributes about 7.1% of India's GDP, employing approximately 4 million people. And the major key source of import of automotive sector is China, Germany, South Korea, and Japan. What is happening in the automotive sector is It's facing short-term price fluctuation, lack of labor, and secondly, and the most important thing is that because of the non-banking financial institution and banking sector's situation, we are not able to generate a quick car loan, quick vehicle loan. As I mentioned already, we are coming out of the stage of pandemic. We are doing what is important, what is necessary. I don't know how many of us have the vehicle purchase as the priority of quarter 3 or maybe a priority right now. What can be done in order to make the situation better is that auto 25% of the automotive parts are imported from China. Now what can we do over here? We can diversify our company who think they have the investment, they have the manpower, can definitely explore opportunities of manufacturing their parts in India in your own comfortable region. Secondly, automotive sector have now will now have to concentrate on clean mobility solution. What do I mean by clean mobility solution? Is that when for example, when we purchase a car from an individual point of view, we look for comfort, we look for mileage, no doubt. But now one major thing that we're going to look for is the clean the cleanliness. How fast can we change the parts of the car? For example, the leather seat. Of course, when we buy a car, we are going to have a lot of people in our car. How quickly can we change the leather seat? How quickly can we change the material on the steering wheel? How quickly can we change the brake pads? All of this are going to be the priority now. People are going to look for a cleaner mobility solution than just something that provides greater mileage or rather a very good comfort. Second thing is, companies should now start marketing their brand over sale. I know how generally the marketing approach applies is that this is the percentage discount that you're getting on this purchase, this is the mileage discount you're getting, this is the mileage you're getting. But no, now we have to concentrate on advertising, marketing your brand in a better, in a efficient way, by telling them we are providing a green mobility solution, we are providing a cleaner mobility solution. That way, they will consumers, their sentiment right now needs to be respected more than anything else, more than the price you're providing. What is the expectation right now is making sure, is ensuring we are safe and sound. And lastly, what is happening in this sector is that there is a rapid technological advancement. For example, there are 3D printers which Ford is using in order to manufacture its parts. The brake component of the latest car of the in Ford is manufactured by the 3D printer. If your firm does not have that kind of investment, it's absolutely no worry, because you can purchase a smaller size of 3D printer in order to get a virtual vehicle certification. You know, in this sector, in order to start manufacturing, start making a vehicle, you need a certification, which is a 21 days long process involving various suppliers. This 3D printing technology can help you get a vehicle certification at your convenience in your own place. Next sector that I would like to concentrate on is consumer retail and internet business. This is contributing 10% of our GDP, employing more than 88% of people. What is happening in this sector? It's a very interesting story that's happening in this sector, because digital is going to be the new normal. Right now, yes, the sector is facing shortage of raw material, shortage of employment, plus the supply chains are disrupted, in order to which they are not able to sell what they have, or they are not able to uh, get where the goods are placed. But in this sector, this sector is going to recover really fast because of its internet business. Anything that goes digital is going to has a promising growth. What can be done in this sector is, let's invest in products that are COVID proof. Yes, that's the new term we are using here, COVID proof. We had products that are recession proof. We had products that that are various but an epidemic proof. Yes, if this industries invest in products that are COVID proof. By that I mean, instead of having a company or a store that sells suitcases, that sells swimwear, that's good. I mean, completely keep that, but also keep products that will right now be purchased in this situation. For example, a barbecue set. People are exploring a lot of cooking opportunities at home. Having a barbecue set in your house will help. Secondly, scale your online shop. By that I mean that if you are a well established supermarket already, if you're a well established shop already, come, please have an online presence. Online is going to be the new normal, where customers have to just click on the products they want, hit purchase. You can also have a bot. A bot is a device which is easily downloaded, which is easily installed in your app, where it's a robotic process where they will ask questions like, what do you want to order, and we simply write what we want to order, and that's done. Your online purchase is done. These kind of investment right now are going to be efficient, are going to be right. And second one is go asset light. Having a lot of shops, having a lot of stores in and around, no, not really. We can go asset right. For example, Amazon is greatly investing in India. It's going to have warehouses in India, where what Amazon is going to do is going to keep store purchases in India. Sorry, one sec. What Amazon is doing right now is investing in stores in and around India, where if people order something from Amazon, it's giving the delivery in the same day. So these kind of techniques, these kind of tactics, where you can have same day delivery system, where you can have a upfront a very effective online device will help. The next sector that I want to concentrate on is the chemical and the petrochemical sector. What is happening in the chemical and the petrochemical sector? It contributes 3.5% of the GDP. It's the sixth largest producer of chemicals and petrochemicals in the world. But in this kind of sector, a very interesting thing is happening, which is the demand of fuel on the overall global economy has decreased. But the same thing, if a consumer tries to go fill petrol or fuel or diesel in a petrol pump, the cost is not fallen down. Why is that? Because the demand of various other petrochemicals and chemicals have fallen down, due to which the companies are trying to maintain the cost. The companies are trying to maintain the growth factor, and that's why the petrol prices are not falling down. And what is really impacted in the sector? The demand and supply chain restrictions, lack of import and label migration. Though this sector is very important and it's highly dependable, because chemicals are used in various fields, chemicals are used in various sectors, there is a lack of production, there is a lack of labor in this sector, due to which the demand has fallen down. There is restriction on supply chain, due to which the sector is not started the way it has to. What can be recommended? One major thing is altering the supply chain. That is, it's a kind of sector which gives chemicals to leather, which gives chemical to food. But right now, the concentration should be on COVID proof products, where the need is, supply chemicals there, revisit your supply chain, cut off the weak ones, Don't stop them for some time. Give them a pause. Alter your supply chains and diversify into products that are promising. For example, manufacturing a chemical for any food related industry is promising, rather than manufacturing a chemical for leather industry, where leather would not be the right purchase. Secondly is, this sector can use a lot of autonomous tools in order to manufacture. For example, there are autonomous forklifts where human being need not be there to complete the process of manufacture. Then there are various robots that can do the repetitive tasks, that can do the easy tasks. Those kind of investment in the automated technology will is a promising investment, thereby cutting your cost, thereby cutting your recurring cost, which is nothing but cost on labor, cost on salaries of the labor, training of an labor. If all that is cut short, it is easier for the sector to come up. For example, and the lastly is investing in R&D technology. With COVID, we came to know various things that are happening in our environment. Environment is becoming healthy, environment is becoming happy. So now the priority of this sector would also be in investing in R&D technologies, investing in green technologies, where whatever manufacturing of petrochemicals and chemicals you are doing is causing less harm to the environment. For example, Atlanta's power supply is manufacturing a unit which generates less carbon emissions. In this way, it is giving an example of contributing positively to environment. And a lot of people who are environmental friendly, who get offended in case we use plastic bag, in case we use a plastic straw and throw it, those kind of people will invest, will like these kind of technology. And with the greater news revolving around the our, around the green environment, it's best to have an R&D which goes for green solutions. Next industry that I would like to focus on is pharma. Pharma is um, is employing 2.7 million people and supplying about 80% of drugs overall to fight AIDS. This is one particular sector that's really, the manufacturing of this particular sector is not affected by lockdown, is not come to a standstill. But because of the lack of labor, raw material, and supply chain shutdown, this sector is not yet reached its best. Though there is an increasing demand in this sector for various, if you go analyze the post-COVID medicines, there are various medicines that are purchased. There are various medicines that are purchased for safety, that are purchased for the times of uncertainty. For sure, the demand in this sector has gone up. For sure, the demand of certain medicines in this sector has gone up. But this sector is facing a lot of supply disruptions, due to which it's not able to reach its best. What can be done in the sector to improve? The first thing is revisit production plans, which is nothing but, for example, we are the company is producing a medicine, is manufacturing a medicine that is uh, that is maybe needed for headache. Yes, that kind of medicines, that kind of production of bottleneck uh, needed pharmaceuticals goods are going to come up. That's because if you have the data of the medicines that are purchased post COVID, it is related to the symptoms of COVID. Anybody has fever, cough, headache, loss of taste, these kind of medicines are the medicines that are needed right now. So if a pharma company plans its production cycle better by giving importance to the production of medicines that are in the bottleneck of 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 sale, that will help. And the second thing is ensure more quality control in your process. As we know right now, the pharma sector is the limelight. So in this kind of sector, it is important to have a lot of quality control checks, because anything goes wrong in this sector is going to be highlighted very easily. So it is needed for us to integrate various various quality check processes. The next one is, if you are in the pharma sector, you can introduce something called as the electronic medical record insurance, which is nothing but you as a pharma company can have a medical card of every medicine that you're supplying to, maybe say a hospital, to maybe say a medical shop, to maybe say the consumer. If you can keep a track of a medical of a e-insurance medical card, where you have listed all your medicines on the sale of the medicines, on the production of the medicines, then that will give you a greater visibility of what exactly to produce and what exactly not to produce. Data in this sector is the most important right now. Data can give you various insights, various input. The last sector is nothing but the transport and logistics. I'm not going deep inside the sector because this is a really vast sector. This sector is anybody who's owning a truck to air freight. This sector contributes 14% of GDP, employing roughly 8.7 million people. What is happening in this sector is that this sector is going to definitely recover in quarter 3. This sector is going to definitely recover in quarter 3 because all the other sector, there's one major impact is the lack of supply chain. If logistics come back in place, then it's going to be easier for all of us to start. It's going to be logistics and transport. In fact, if it comes back to place, it's easier for all of us to kickstart. The one major recommendation of this sector is building mini operating model. The traditional approach was having a truck, filling everything inside, going point A to point B in order to supply. But right now, having a mini operating model where a company is flexible to curb demand, where a company is flexible to go into streams where it thinks is important, is going to help. For example, Uber is operating on a mini model where it's going to allow less of passengers in the vehicle, but it's going to curb the needful passenger. It's going to make you fill a form that you have a private vehicle. Are you wearing mask? Are you using sanitizer? And then it's going to get you in their vehicle. So these kind of efficiency in the sector would help the sector come up as well as the other sector come up, because we are highly dependent on transport and logistics. The last thing I would say is the key takeaways. If you are an existing product in an existing market, it is efficient for you to invest online. It is efficient for you to go digital. It is efficient for you to have an online presence. You will know the difference. If you are an existing product or services in a new market, you can go for M&A opportunities. For example, a dental clinic and an optical clinic, for example, and Lenskart and a dental clinic want to open their store, they can open it under the same roof. Like that, your costs are minimized. You can have the same precaution measures. And if one person comes for a dental checkup, they would definitely be attracted to go for an eye checkup. Secondly, if you're a new product but in an existing market, you can provide them value added services, which is your combination of product and services. You can concentrate more on the after sale services. Somebody's ordered something from you, provide them a free hand sanitizer. Of course, if it's costing too much on your company, that's not needed. But focusing on the after sale services, focusing on improving your variety of services will help. And thirdly, a new product in a new market, please diversify. Our economy is giving us a chance to be self-reliant, to be adapted, to be agile. Let's make use of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Vidya. That was really good. I hope everybody did enjoy the session, and also there were a few questions for you on this. So can I ask you those?
Sure.
Yeah. So we had one question from Dharmanshu Bhai Kajaria. He wanted to know that instead of using Amazon or any of the other e-commerce sites, would it be more advisable to use e-commerce sites like Tata Click or any of the other Indian sites? Will that be more useful for the economy?
Of course, it's a very interesting question because what Amazon is trying to do is onshore. Amazon is operating from there by investing in India so that it has warehouses in the major region where we can just click purchase and it will give you an same day delivery option. If some company onshore can do it, then it's very important and it's very efficient for somebody operating in the same region to do it. That's what I meant by go asset light. Not to have a store, but to have a warehouse where you dump all your inventories and you have a very very user friendly app where people can just hit purchase and it comes to you the same day. It is yes efficient. It is yes better to always order something from our own region than relying on Amazon and other e-commerce websites.
So a couple of things, takeaways from your presentation. One was go asset light.
Right.
Other was to focus more on COVID-proof products.
Right.
So if you culminate both these things, going asset light, going into COVID-proof products, would that also mean to have better utilization of the limited resources that we have? Today, as such, India, space is a very limited resource. And depending on which metro you are in or which city you are in, your usage of space is different.
Right.
But does that mean to have better success for your own business, much better utilization of whatever space you may have with better utilization of your product range? Would that be a winning combination?
Yes, so the new combination will be limited resources and maximum efficient use. That's what's going to be the new combination, where we are making use of everything that we have, but in the most efficient way. One thing is used for various ways, one thing is used for efficient ways. That will be the new combination.
So you just underlined the definition of economics, which Lionel Robbins gave, that economics is a study of various resources which have multiple uses. I guess we are coming back to the basics of economics once again, and it took COVID to take us there.
Realize that. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, one question we have from Ajay Bhai Jasrani is that the government has done a lot of measures, or they have done. They are having a strategy to get India out of the slump that we are presently in, or out of the low GDP that is happening just now. Is this strategy enough to stop an economic downslide?
I think the government is functioning in various ways in order to get us back to normal. Of course, one strategy is not enough because there is a dual effect to every strategy. So what government is trying to do over here is to stabilize GDP by protecting all other resources too. So it would take multiple strategies on a different level in different sectors to get back to normal. Definitely, there is no one particular solution for COVID-19.
And is this the right time to suggest a solution for COVID-19? Or is it that we are still in the midst of the crisis? And there's probably a lot more to come. We have only seen a part of it. And the cases are peaking now. And the way things are going, you never know. There could be a lockdown 4, lockdown 5 in place too. So is this the right time to talk on a COVID recovery? Or should we wait till such a time that we are sure that the COVID crisis has ended and now is the time to implement changes? What do you think? Is this the right time or not?
I believe that this is the right time to implement changes for one reason, that we are fighting a war already. When will this war end? We have no idea. But the economy is opening up. The government is supporting. It's the right time to try out new stuff. It's the right time to make certain changes. One and only reason, because this is the definition of new normal. We have to take precaution. We have to go there back in the market and do our best to sustain, to survive.
There's one question from Kalpesh Bhai Sampat regarding logistics.
Right.
He's saying that sea transport seems to be a much more economical solution right now. Do you think that developing the sea transport would make more difference in the logistical scenario in India?
So the logistics scenario is India is already facing an infrastructure deficit. For example, in various other regions, there is sea transport, there's canal transport, there is air transport, and there is road transport. But sadly, in India, the infrastructure is such that it gives us only operating on the road, which is costing a lot to the logistic company. But recently, the government has come in changes where you can use the logistic and the transport sector by curbing the railway in two. So I believe if we start, I mean, sea transport is a lot right now for India, given the facilities that we have. But yes, it's a very efficient way, it's a faster way, it's a way that will cost us less traffic, less rules, less everything. But the logistic industry is already facing a lot of restriction, a lot of weakness. So when I'm unsure about when that will be implemented, but it's definitely for the good. And very recently, I remember when BJP came into line, I think the second election or something like that, they were announcing using railways for a good logistic measure. And I think I'm unsure if that is being implemented rightly or not. But if that's implemented, I think the next they would concentrate is on a sea or it's on a canal transport.
Okay, thank you for the interesting insights. And that was a lovely session. We have the next session by Prashant Bhai Kajaria. I would urge you to stay on board and see his session also. But thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. There are many more questions which were there, but we'll probably mail them to you so that you can answer, and we'll mail them back to the participants with the answers.
Sure.
So thank you so much. And Rajan, it's over to you to introduce our next speaker, Prashant Bhai Kajaria.
Hello. Yeah. So we have Prashant Kajaria from Mumbai. He is chartered accountant and company secretary. He is director in Parinda Infin Consultancy Private Limited, and he has a 34 or more than that. He is experienced in investment strategy and wealth creation. So Prashant bhai, you are welcome on the Drashtikon. Thank you.
Hello everybody, Jai Shri Krishna, good morning. I wish all my listeners and their family are safe and sound. I take this opportunity to thank Drashtikon on inviting me on second webinar to share my views on the interesting topics post-COVID investment strategy. I will try to cover upon the same by PowerPoint presentation. We have passed through a painful and helpless 75 days of extended lockdown. Let us move out of the phobia of COVID-19 with the hope that dedicated government economic revival strategies for key sectors allowed by economic relief package to put the India economy back on track in foreseeable future. With this positive note, now I move to my presentation. Basic investment mantra are dedicated to my young listeners, be a chartered accountant, doctors, entrepreneurs, salary earners having good stream of income, aspiring to fulfill their dreams in realities. It calls for financial planning. Every economic activity has a goal. Goal can be divided into period-wise, short-term goal, long-term goal, and medium-term goal. Short-term goal have a time frame of 1 to 3 years to fulfill the dreams of the family, such as own four-wheelers, smart TVs, travel India abroad. Medium-term goals are for the period 3 to 10 years to perform parental responsibility, such as higher education of the children, India abroad, marriage, and buying a house. Long-term goal time frame is more than 10 years to accomplish happy and healthy retired life. Now I here touch upon the mode of investment which can be considered for the short-term goal. SIP is a very good route to participate and to conserve the resources to meet the short-term goal. Or you can consider the SIP in equity directly for such a type of investment, or you can consider the debts bond available in the market having a tenure of 3 to 5 years. For medium-term holds, I would consider the mid-cap stocks in the market, bonds to finish and fulfill the goals regarding the buying the property or fulfill the social responsibilities. Long-term goals is more than 10 years, build the portfolio over the period of 30 years to have a peaceful and happy entire life. PPF is one of the best tool available today. It is a tax efficient and also give decent returns tax free. Over the years, this is the generating wealth for the PPF holders who are participating for more than 3 decades. Cultivate the habit of contributing either monthly or annually around 50 to 60,000 to accumulate decent returns over the years. Now, it has been followed by detailed budgeting on monthly cash outflow on domestic expenses, EMI loans, repayment of loans, and unplanned expenses. Saving is a hardest exercise. Avoid impulsive spending to generate decent monthly investable surplus to plan monthly and periodical systematic investment to accomplish your goal. Investment parameters has to be observed to minimize the risks and to achieve the goal. Risks and returns goes together. It is ability and willingness to digest the large swing in the value of investment. Those with a high net worth are more and disposable income can afford to take greater risks. Asset allocation, equity, debt, insurance product, gold, and real estate can be considered. This is the diversification of portfolio to minimize the risks and to generate maximum return out of the asset allocation. Within each asset class, try to diversify in sectors and also good companies in equity market. Debt, you can consider government bonds, rated companies, government rated securities, which can give you a regular stream of income with safety. Gold is a different class of assets. Today, one has to be considered as the products are available in the market by way of gold ETF and 2.5% gold bonds, which can give you edge against the other mode of investment also. 2.5% gold bonds are very popular today. It is a tenure of 8 years and can give you a tax-free returns if you continue to hold for 8 years. Gold ETF are also tradable in the market and it gives the decent return over a period of time. Real estate is, if it is need-based, one should consider. Otherwise, as a mode of investment today, it may be lucrative because the market is subdued and it may go further 10 to 20% down. The rental incomes works out to around 3 to 4% unless it is being appreciated over a period of 15 to 20 years. I think so. If it is need-based, one should consider rather than as an investment. Some rules for making the diversification: 100 minus your age. If you are younger, you can take more bet on equity than the person who is in the age of 50. So younger age can participate more on equity, bet upon because he is having a regular income stream, and also parents are there to take care of any eventualities or any non-working of the investment as per the goal. Now this investment has to be tax efficient. Any investment is with the objective to earn tax efficient returns. In India today, short-term capital gain tax are taxed at 15%, long-term capital gains are taxed at 10% if it is exceed 1 lakh rupees, and interest and dividend incomes are taxed at the normal slab. Last but not least, nourish your portfolio like a plant. More you nourish, it will grow into mango tree and you will have fruits for not only for you, but for generation to come. Golden principle to imbibe and practice are the timeless principle. Focus on goal and asset allocation. What we discussed in the previous slide. Every crisis throws upon investment opportunity. COVID has provided an opportunity to select good sectors to enter on the deep and reap the benefit over a period of time. Medium to short term, I think so, can generate very good return if the investors stayed and selected the good sectors and portfolio. All investment is the value investment, rest is speculation. Always buy value, always buy good business. Don't speculate in the market. Market is so volatile and speculator never earn money in the market. You are putting the investment or hard-earned money what you earn to a minimal valuation in the time of adversity. Diversification is the best edge. Case is a king. It is always the case is a king. In like that you can participate any market for any adversity in the market, and you can chase upon good stocks as a value buying. You can also participate in primary market. Good IPOs are flowing in the market. Do participate heavily if the good companies like what had happened in last 2 years. Avenue Supermart has given ample returns. IRCT has given ample returns. In last 4 years, HDFC Life has given handsome return. HDFC AMC has given handsome return. So if you are able to participate in such a IPO, you can continue to hold as a short-term or to long-term investment, provided you can able to continue as a holding capacity. Short-term fluctuations in the market, which loom for large to investors, have little to do with the long-term accumulation of wealth. In market, the swing is on both the sides, downward and upward. As an investor, you always seek that I have my asset allocation and my goals should be intact. I will not move with the market unless the sector is badly affected. Go on accumulating the sectors you have chosen, you are convinced about the script, go on adding on deep, create and accumulate the wealth. Gold glitters in the time of adversity. Try to tune out the noise emanating from the popular financial media, focus on equity fundamentals. See, today you must be knowing that financial media is distorting the mind of investors, parties, analysts. Listen to them, but stick to your goals and fundamentals of equity. There is no better investment than investment in the future of the child. So invest for their education, their personal suit, so it can have happiness and also bring a career to the child, whatever she wants to pursue, for which I consider the medium-term goal has to be considered while putting investment for the children. Effect on economy. Indian economy, which was very fragile, with falling GDP numbers and financial sector crisis before the COVID-19. During the extended national lockdown, India witnessed halted economic activity, disturbed supply chains, drain on government revenues and resources, created anxiety among the different stakeholders on regaining its activity. Job earners are not sure about their income due to the delay and destruction in salary, or about the job security. Massive migrant laborers are facing the brunt of this shutdown. One silver lining of COVID-19 is that it has neither destroyed nor impaired national infrastructures, industrial, business, and household assets, though it has a huge effect on the GDP growth rate of India 2021. GDP is a sum total of the contribution from three sectors. Agricultural and allied sectors contribute 17% of the GDP. Industrial sector contribute 30% of GDP, and service sectors contribute 53% of GDP. Unfortunately, service sectors is badly affected. As we know, the real estate market, hotel, transport, communication, and other services and trade has been effectively affected because of the lockdown. Now we move forward to next slide. Market scenario and behavior of the investors. Market always like dislike. Market is a barometer of economy and represents the sentiment of participants. Market has three types of participation: investors, speculators, and traders. History speaks that when the bull market is there, it leads to greediness. Speculators and over-leveraged traders burn their fingers. Bear markets looms fears and anxiety like what we are facing today, wherein the value investors step in. Dark clouds started gathering on the capital market on the slowdown of the Indian economy, financial crisis, and outbreak of COVID-19 in India. Markets started moving downward from its all-time high BSE Sensex of 42,274. On the closing bell of BSE on 20th March, Friday, the BSE Sensex settled at around 29,916, downfall of 12,356 points from its all-time high. It is a 29.23% market fall. On the anticipation of lockdown from the government of India, on Monday, on 23rd March 20, market opened with a shivering knot, and it progressed during the day. The market saw biggest ever one-day fall of 13%. It indicates nervousness of the investors, and then it settled at around 25,981 points. That is indicating the uncertainty of the COVID, scale of aggravation, how long it will continue, when the medicine and vaccines will be invented and put to use, and its effects on economic activity, trade, and demand. Because of this scenario of uncertainty, the few questions investors ask themselves: can I take more risks? It depends primarily on your time horizon, income, and liquidity requirement. It provides you a good opportunity for investment. Select right sectors, right companies, and go on buy in piecemeal on every dip. Second question comes into the mind: should I sell across the board and re-enter the market? It is very tempting, but difficult to implement. One cannot and should not sell in such a scenario good stocks and distressed sell. My best advice: unless you need money, or otherwise stay invested. Last but not least, should I sell stocks that have not fallen yet as much as the broader market? You are fortunate to have such stock in your portfolio which has not depreciated as compared to the broader market. Continue to hold. With the market moving up, the sector moving up, it will penetrate and give a very handsome return over the time. Investment strategy. Timely measures by Reserve Bank of India by reducing repo rate by 75 basis point, reduction in SLR and CRR to enhance the liquidity and restore the confidence in the financial market. Announcement of Atmanirbhar Yojana to the tune of 20 lakh crores to give economic relief package to revive the economy. Finance Minister Mrs. Sitharaman has announced in high tranche to support NBFC, housing finance companies, mutual fund industries, MSME, and small manufacturing units, farmers, and migrant workers. The market started moving up forward on gaining confidence of various stakeholders, active participation of mutual fund and LIC. And today we have witnessed that market has gained from 25,981 points as of 23rd March 2020 and settled on 5th June on Friday to 34,287, gaining 32%. It is the resilience of Indian capital market. See, always mature equity market it gives regain capacity is more. So stay invested with the good stock and apply your resources to buy on dip. Now we will move forward. Equity investment, identify the sectors, right? Identify sectors in this scenario or otherwise will give us decent return or very good returns over the period of time. Identify the companies, tested and trusted management over the period of time, quality business, large size of business opportunities, strong financial to manage the prolonged shutdowns. What we are talking about the strong financials is about the cash test of the company. Companies should have minimum debt equity ratio or total debt-free company and with represented by the cash reserves to fight out any eventualities in the appearing in the economy or in the sector. Take the example of Nestle around 3 years before, because of their lead problem in their product Maggi, and they have to hold off the 600 crores of worth of stocks from the market, and they wrote off in 1 quarter itself to absorb this loss, and in next quarter also they started gaining profitability and distribute the dividend as usual by value with the growth story. Now we'll move upon first sector. Fast moving consumer good is always a wonderful consideration to add to your portfolio. No sector in India can be termed as a post-COVID proof. It is just that some sectors are relatively less impacted by the virus than others. I feel that FMCG, consumption stocks, specialty chemicals have potential to recover faster than others. Blue chip private sector banks will outperform with public sector banks. Insurance sector also look positive as a sector is still under penetration in India and people will be more cautious about their health and life eventually in post-COVID scenario. Company may be selected on recovery potentials, earning visibility, quality of the management, and financial strength. Fast-moving consumer goods is the 4th largest sector in Indian economy. Market size is 60 million US dollar by 2020. Expected growth between 20 to 25. Key drivers: strong brands, consistent growth, better margin, volume gain, free cash flow, rise in rural consumption, growing awareness, and changing in the lifestyle have been the key growth drivers of the sector. It is all-time investor darling, very liberal rewards to the shareholders by rising splits and bonus all the years. I would recommend Hindustan Lever, Britannia, Nestle, and Procter & Gamble. Britannia today available at 3,400 plus, Lever is around 2,100 plus, whereas Nestle is around 17,000 plus and P&G is around 10,000 plus. So there is a huge gap between these two chips with the Nestle, with the Hindustan Lever and Britannia. We are expecting a split in near future, and when the split comes in this type of securities, it can regain the same original price over the period of 5 to 10 years. Pharmaceuticals. Pharma sectors, I can talk about laboratories and Cipla are one of the good skips to be considered in this post-COVID scenario. IT, I would consider Infosys and TCS because they're having good test chest in their portfolio and they are rewarding the shareholders all the times very generously. Telecommunication, there are only 4 players in the market covering 22 national circle, and this sector has a very good future post-COVID thereafter. Insurance is also one of the growing sectors one should consider as a part of the portfolio. Private banks, I would consider HDFC banks and Kotak banks are a good bet for the short-term to medium-term investment. And Yes Bank, if you want to consider as a small cap security, it can give you a very handsome return over a period of 3 years' time. Gas providers in India, MGL, Indraprastha Gas, and Gujarat Gas Company. These are also having a pricing monopoly, huge consumer base, and also growing economy. So these are also giving good returns over a period of time. Specialty chemicals has a wide applications in each and every sector and every industry of India. According to me, Pidilite and these sectors can generate very handsome returns if you consider as a portfolio investment. E-commerce, only in India, this is going to be a rising sectors in the scenario of the post-COVID, and also as a asset-light mode of investment over a period of time. In India, Just Dial is the only listed company in such category. Strategy should be wait for the Q1 results or Q2 results. If it is extended, Corona extended, watch and wait and weigh these results to decide upon the strategy of investment. These are the sectors now, what we discuss, FMGC, pharma, every dip you should enter as a short to medium term investment. Diversify the portfolio to minimize the risks of investment, buy on every dip and stay invested. Mutual fund, large cap fund, sectoral fund, hybrid fund, index funds, these are to suit the investors who are either risk averse or cannot participate directly in equity. They can participate by way of these mutual fund routes. Index funds, though are passive, it can give good returns when the market moving upward. Fixed income mainly for the to earn the regular stream of income and to hedge against the equity downfall. Last is commercial real estate. It is for the HNI client or any investors having the huge cash flow. They can consider commercial real estate as a source of investment to generate regular rental income and get the appreciation over a period of 10 to 15 years. SCHS for retiree, I think so one should consider in the scenario for 5 years as a cash reserve, and for family men, it should be around 6 months. If it is in job of loss or any other eventualities, they should have at least minimum 6 months of their domestic expenses. Economic life after COVID. COVID is definitely a game changer, a changer. It will profoundly transform all the aspects of economic activities, financial market, society at large. Low inflation, low interest rate, good for the corporate sectors, but it is a painful for the retirees and widows. Rising corporate earnings, that is because of, I would consider, one is the corona, and second thing, the removal of distribution tax from the corporate hands. High dividend paying companies can have substantial saving on account of dividend distribution tax, which they can plow back and employ judiciously for acquisition or expansion or research and development. First sectors will get further boost. Healthcare innovations will taking place. Government intervention in market and pull for new economic model depends upon the situation and condition of the economy and its sectors. Debt market needs reform because today present debt market in India is not that much penetrable, not as an equity market. So there should be market maker to generate liquidity in the debt market. Mega digital transformation and call for 5G network. Move from physical to virtual world. Today we are seeing board meetings, AGMs are on virtual world. It is a wonderful tool. We can reduce the establishment cost, transport, and others. Work from home will be order of the day, and it will lean out the expenses on the employer by way of the rentals, office maintenance cost, and last but not least, the e-commerce online trade and service will be order of the day. Thank you very much for listening me. I am a ardent Bhagavad reader. So I conclude my talk. Sada Sevya, Srimad Bhagavati Katha, Yasya Savan Matrena, Harijitam Samarse. Thank you very much, the Dusty Fund, for providing me this platform to share my views. I hope everybody must have enjoyed. Thank you very much once again, Rajan Bhai, Prashant Bhai, and Dhaval Bhai, for spending your time along with me before this session also. Thank you, Bharatiya Samaj, also for listening me. Thank you very much.
So, Prashant Bhai, we come to the question answer session.
Yeah.
Interesting topic that you had there, personal investment. In these days of post-COVID or in between COVID scene that we are having, everybody is talking of losing money. I'm happy that at least you are the first person who is talking of how to make money and not lose money. So that is really a big relief for all of us, that yes, there is a chance for all of us to make some money and not only lose money. One thing that I liked sorry?
Please continue. Sorry for interrupting you.
So I liked what you said. COVID did not destroy infrastructure like any other natural calamity. So पंहिंजा वॾा चनावा के नफ़े में नुक़सान करो के नुक़सान में नफ़ो करो, ॿई नारनु खपे. त हाणे पंहिंजो ई सीन आहे कि पंहिंजे नफ़े में कोई नुक़सान थियो ई नारे जो आहे. So at least COVID destroyed everything, but it did not destroy infrastructure. So recovery time will be that much less.
Yes.
So a lot of questions from the viewers, Prashant Bhai. So let me ask you. There is a question about from Dashni Morparia, that if you had to bet on one asset class to invest with a 1 year time frame, what is that asset class that you would bet on? Any one asset class on which you would want to bet for the next 1 year?
Yeah, I will elaborate our question. Equity is always generating the better return than any other class in 1 year parameters. If I'm fortunate and park the money in the right sector or right security, it can give me a 40% return in a year's time, which is unmatchable to any class of investment on a small. You can't bet upon the equity on other class of assets, provided you are fortunate to have a good company at good time. Take the example, I will give example now. On the Hindustan Lever, GSK decided to offload their entire holding after this merger. And within a 1 month time, it has generated 10 to 15% return. Who is going to give us? And good class of assets. On good class of assets. I'm not banking upon any tips or the things. I'm talking about the strip where it is fundamentals are good. So equity is a always class to consider as a 1 year scenario also. Bet upon the good steps. Stay invested. It can generate around 12 to 15% return, according to me.
So we have a question from Jessibai Negandhi, continuing with what you just said. So Jessibai Negandhi feels that presently investor is in a dilemma where to put the money. Because on one side, PPF returns are very low. Secondly, equity market, which was earlier giving 12 to 15% returns, for the last 10 years, it has not given so much. Real estate market is also into doldrums. And he says probably gold is the only one which is giving decent returns. Like you said, gold glitters in the time of adversity. So continuing this question with the earlier one, what is the right way to invest in the current scenario?
See, as regard the gold bond is concerned, no, we examine the 2 cycles of 8 years. Because they are 8 years bond. So what is happening now, any class of assets, bearing equity market, there is a cycle. Suppose you enter, you are the early bird, you can have a maximum gain out of it. Gold over a period of 8 years time has given 50% returns. So returns comes to around 6 to 7% returns. No doubt it has spurred in last year as compared to last year today, 32% gain. But this spurt cannot be sustainable. If I enter the gold at this price and I expect that it should grow at around 12 to 15%, it is hardly to workable unless any change in the global market as a asset class globally. Otherwise, gold is an investment, no doubt about it, but it cannot generate and beat the equity investment any point of time.
Prashant bhai, you just broke the hearts of many women who are thinking that gold is the right place to invest. Now, investment in gold will not happen. A lot of women will not like it.
No.
Anyways, that is
I'm not against the gold investment, but as regards the return, because every investment should be return generated asset. And what is the objective? To earn maximum returns with the minimum risks. Gold
that was
is
just
no doubt.
that was just on the lighter side, Prashant bhai.
Yeah.
We have a question from Ankit bhai Bhatia. He says, can you share your views on investment in REITs, that is real estate investment funds, and infrastructure investment funds, in comparison to traditional provident fund or FD? Because he thinks there is going to be a large opportunity of capital appreciation in these kind of funds, real estate investment funds and infrastructure investment funds. Do you think this is how it is going to be in the next few years?
I agree with him. Mainly, they are good, having a very good commercial assets in their portfolio, which generates very good income stream from their debt. And looking to the today's market, the appreciation side on the commercial properties or residential will be not that what we enjoyed in last 1 decade. Looking to this COVID scenario, 19, no, rental income will start coming down. You must have heard the good multinational company decided to work from the, ask employee to work from the home, at least for next 6 to 1 year's time. What does
You're
it
talking
indicate?
of TCS.
Yeah. What does it indicate? The rental income, what they used to generate on this asset class of investment, it may either dwindle or depreciate in the value of the commercial property. But it is a good tool of investment. I don't disagree with that. One should consider as a part of investment in the portfolio.
My next question, I'm combining two questions. Since you spoke of pharma sector, it's a combined question from Jesse Bhai Negandhi and Ramesh Bhai Ved. In the pharma sector, what do you think of Alembic Pharma, Ajanta Pharma, and Sun Pharma in the present scenario?
Yeah, I would bet upon the Alembic Pharma, looking into the portfolio, product portfolio. Second is Sun Pharma, and last is Ajanta Pharma. See, you always consider the quality of the management. According to me, Alembic is the only one company in India listed, celebrated more than 103 years, 2 years before. Management, quality, their product portfolio, their brands are doing very well in the market. Second, Sun Pharma, they have got product portfolio of the Ranbaxy, as well as Ranbaxy, managed by Sanghvis, also quite good bet at around 450 or 460 price.
And one last question, Prashant Bhai. This is from Lalit Bhai Udeshi. He is asking, is Yes Bank safe to invest now with whatever happened in the recent times?
I was about to touch upon this because of consent. I could not. It is a very good bet. As HDFC Bank, HDFC, Kotak Bank, State Bank of India, ICICI Bank, they participate without this liability and crisis of Yes Bank. Today at 28 price, it is a good bet to enter, and I anticipate in 2 years' time it can touch minimum around to 7 to 75%. It can give good returns, and downward risk is very low. Downward risk is around 10 to 15%. I see always consider who get nuksan krisa strip ma jo aa bhama listo. Downward is very minimal. And second stock I would recommend to my viewers and listeners, Vodafone today available at around 9 or 10 rupees. Bet upon it. Good brand, good penetration, and any FIIs or any foreign investors participate, and it can give a very good returns to investors.
Okay. I'll take one more question, which came in just now. Puneet Bhai Sampat wants to ask, do you see a boom post the lockdown in the next probably 6 months to 1 year? Do you see things improving much better in the equity market?
I bet upon that. Equity market will get much momentum. Everything depends upon the economic revival and the confidence of the market and participants. It is purely a sentimental investments, and I foresee that market will again regain and break the 42,000 index in a couple of months.
So in these days when everybody wants to be negative on COVID or want to test negative, at least there is one positive sentiment on the stock market. Thank you so much, Prashant Bhai. We enjoyed your session. There were some more questions which we will probably send it to you on mail and wait for your answers on that. But thank you so much for sparing your time and coming here and sharing your views with us on the personal investment space. Meanwhile, to all the viewers who have joined us today, thank you. Thank you for coming on to the Drishtikon seminars. Today we had the Drishtikon of Vidyaben Ved and Prashant Bhai Kajaria on macroeconomic view and the macroeconomic view of the Indian markets and the personal investment strategy. Our next session is going to be on 21st of June. We are going to divert a little bit away from the finance and economy, and our next session on 21st June will be on Wonder Women or on Bhatia Women Bhatia Achievers. We would like them to share their views and share their journey to whatever they have achieved. So do tune in on 21st June onto this onto Drishtikon Talks. Meanwhile, if you have any suggestions, please write into us at drishtikon.talks@gmail.com. That is drshtikon.talks. drishtikon.talks@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you, and whatever questions we haven't answered today, we will mail them to you along with some details of the next session. And thank you very much. See you again.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you all. Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you.